Okay, this begins the February 10th meeting of the Albany Parks, Recreation, and Open Spaces Commission, abbreviated PROS. Can we have a roll call?
Certainly. Commissioner Abbott?
I am here.
Commissioner Armendariz?
Here.
Commissioner Chang Frank?
Here.
Commissioner Chang? I'm sorry, Commissioner Kent?
Here.
Commissioner Martin? Commissioner Price?
Here.
Chair Beal?
Present.
Thanks.
Okay, so now with the, since November 15th of last year, the city of Albany enacted that we read this land acknowledgement. So I will read the land acknowledgement. The city of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederated Villages of Lejeune. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions, which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth in unity. The city of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relations with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now make this their home. Next up on the agenda is approval of minutes from January 13th. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes, or do we need to review them?
I am happy to move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second that.
Okay, can we have a vote?
Commissioner Abbott?
Yes.
Commissioner Armendariz?
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Kent?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin? Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Chair Beal?
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda, we have public comment. This is for persons desiring to address the commission on an item that is not on the agenda. Please note that each speaker is limited to up to 3 minutes. The Brown Act limits the commission's ability to take in or discuss items that are not on the agenda. Therefore, such items are normally referred to staff for comment or to a future agenda. Do we have any persons that want to, any members of the public that want to comment tonight?
Yes, I see one.
Okay, let them in.
You're on mute.
Hi, this is Brian Martin. I don't know how I get to be a host, but I have to call in tonight, and I guess I'm an attendee. But if there's any way someone could make me a panelist or whatever that works, that'd be great.
Does anyone from the staff know what the process is? Do we have a form we have to fill out, or?
No, I think, Sid, are you able to promote?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not. Jeremy, can you help?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's just a list of numbers and the webinar code, and it's nothing specific. If Jeremy knows a way for someone to call in. I'm going off the email you sent as a
okay, so I'm going to suggest a workaround if we could, if it's legal. I think maybe we could just, is there a way we could let him in as a panel or as a member of the public, when we're discussing items as a commission? Can we do that? I think, well, let's do that. We'll just somehow, I guess, if there's a way you guys can see that he is waving his hand there or whatever, yeah, maybe that'll work. Okay, I think we'll work with it that way. And I can see how, because there is a special link required for us as panelists, and it just didn't work. Go ahead. You have a suggestion, Commissioner Kent?
I was adjusting my light. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I thought we had another tech support specialist. Okay, I can get these things to do anything. I speak their language. So, all right. So let's, I think, so do we have any real public comment?
I don't see any right now.
Okay, so I guess then announcements. Staff, does the staff have any announcements?
Well, I'll be mentioning this later in the meeting, but just wanted the commission to know that the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Master Plan was adopted by the City Council on January 18th. And it is part of your, of the attachment for item 6.1.
Okay, any commissioners have any announcements? Commissioner Abbott.
Just mentioned the Solano Association is hosting a Lunar New Year celebration. That is this Sunday from 10 to noonish, I think 11:45. It's much scaled down than their normal event that they have at Albany Twin and a parade and things like that. This is mostly performances by local dance groups at Peralta Park. So should be a lot of fun. 10 to 11:45-ish at Peralta Park on Sunday.
Okay, any other commissioners? Okay, it sounds like we're ready to go. We don't have any presentations tonight? That's just, no. Okay, so then next up, discussion and possible action on matters related to the following items: election of officers. So as everyone's probably heard, Vice Chair Martin is still with us on the commission, but he's decided to step down as chair or as vice chair. And so we need to elect a new vice chair. I'll accept nominations from commissioners until there's no more nominations. We'll start with the last nomination and vote on it and so forth. So do we have any nominations? And I'll say you can't nominate anyone whose name starts with BR. Pros, Commissioner Chang Fank.
I nominate Commissioner Price.
I'll second the nomination. And then any more nominations?
I'll nominate Commissioner Abbott.
Commissioner Abbott.
I will graciously. I appreciate that very much, but I am chair of the Economic Development Committee.
That's right. I remember that now. Sorry about that.
I'm not sure that I would want to do both, but appreciate it.
Okay, are we going to have any other nominations? Nope. Yep.
I was actually going to decline the nomination and nominate Commissioner Kent.
Okay, this is getting fun. Oh, whoops, I can't say that. Do I have a second? And do you accept that? I should ask, do you accept the nomination?
Chair Beal, I think Brian Martin has a comment.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes,
I think you
thank
can
you.
unmute and speak.
Yes.
We've left you as
I think
being able to speak, so you're able to speak when you unmute yourself.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted, and I wanted to say I felt remiss at the last meeting for not explaining what the chair and the vice chair do, and try to encourage people who haven't been those to be chair and vice chair. And we have a chair, so thank you, Commissioner Beal, for that. But the chair does meet with the virtually or through email with the staff liaison to help set the agenda and and then of course, guide us through the meeting. And again, thank you, Commissioner Beal, for your service in that this year. The vice chair is basically one heartbeat away from the chair, I have been vice chair, and Commissioner Beal has been vice chair, and I think it's if people are worried about time commitment, my recollection was that there was basically zero time commitment. There's really nothing. It truly is being one heartbeat away. It's just if the chair can't come to a meeting, then the vice chair is called on to meet with the staff liaison, just briefly, or email back and forth, like, here's the agenda, what do you think? And then to lead a meeting. So I would really encourage new members of the commission in particular. We've had former members who have been excellent chairs and vice chairs, but I would encourage new members to if they can at all, contemplate doing that kind of thing, to step forward and try that role for a year. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to real quick echo what Brian was said in terms of the time commitment from the last year as vice chair. The one time I had to act as chair, as you may recall, was because of the Albany Bowl project, because there was a conflict of interest. So maybe once you'll have to act as chair. That's what the vice chair does. So Commissioner Kent has his hand. Commissioner Kent.
Oh, I have my hand up. Sorry. I'll take my hand down. And how do I take my hand down? Yeah. So okay, I'll accept the nomination.
Okay, see, and I think, okay, so, and do we require a second or not? Or is that?
I will happily second, Commissioner.
Okay.
Kent.
Do we have any more nominations? Do we have any commissioners left to nominate? I don't think so. I think, okay.
Do we have any commissioners feeling left out of this love fest?
We haven't heard from a couple people, but okay, that's their choice. I think so. Going once, going twice, and we vote for Commissioner Kent. You ready? Okay. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Abbott?
Yes.
Commissioner Armendariz?
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Kent?
No.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Oh,
Chair Beal?
Yes.
So, Commissioner Kent, are you, when you said no, does that mean you don't want to be vice chair?
no, I just think Commissioner Price would be better. That's all. I'll step up, sure. But I just think Commissioner Price is born to the role. I mean, look at her. She's perfect.
I see what's going on here. Unfortunately, it's not, we've already executed the process, and you are the new vice chair. Congratulations. I knew it. I knew I saw potential in you.
Thank you.
On the subcommittee. So there we have it. On to the next item. Congratulations, Vice Chair Kent. On to the review of the 2021-2023 Commission Work Plan. Commission will proceed with the review of what I just said. Can we have a staff report?
Sure. So the current 2021-2023 work plan, which is attached to staff report as attachment 1, was approved by council on May 3rd, 2021. Per council action, the council receives work plan presentations every 2 years, with advisory bodies conducting their own review mid-cycle to identify accomplishments and ensure continued focus on completing tasks. To assist the Commission in its mid-cycle review, an update on the 2021-2023 work plan initiatives has been compiled as attachment 2. The Commission has also indicated interest in reviewing the work plan after approval of the Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan, which was approved in January. So the master plan is also attached for your information. In addition, per council policy, should any changes to a council approved work plan be desired by an advisory body or work plan amendment request, must be submitted by the advisory body to the council for review and approval. So no changes can be requested after the November 1st meeting of the second year. If amendments are made to the work plan, the new work plan template, which was approved by council after your work plan was approved, should be incorporated. But if the commission does not make any changes to its current work plan, then there is no need to, to incorporate the new template, because you don't need to go back to council. So, so I'm happy to go over the chart of initiatives briefly, if that is the desire of the commission. Just it provides an overview of, what's been accomplished, what is in progress, what's been incorporated in the master plan. I've made some notes as to when, things were incorporated, if projects were incorporated in the master plan, where they fell in the forecast, in the hopes that that would help the commission in their deliberation of your work plan.
I see Commissioner Chang Frank has her hand up there. Did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I just had a clarifying question. In terms of sort of the process of the work plan development, if it's 21 to 23, can you remind me, do we usually make changes to the work plan every year, or would it be a whole nother year and a half before we'd make changes to the work plan again as part of the regular process?
Yeah, this work plan is in effect until June of 2023, with a review by, so basically this is your mid-cycle review. So you can choose to keep it as is and continue to work on the work plan items you have. And then usually the commission at the end of this year, because everybody terms out at the end of this year, you would proceed with a final review of the work plan and your accomplishments. And this would be incorporated into the next work plan that, the new commission of 2023 would start with. So it's almost like, from the time of, from January 2023 to June, as you probably remember yourselves when you came on board, you're working on an existing work plan, but also transitioning towards a new one.
Okay, so then it sounded, after that, does that answer your question? Okay, and in terms of, it sounded like Assistant Manager Leddick, that you were suggesting the commission has some choice as to how to proceed at this point with your presentation. My idea about it is maybe for the benefit of, I'm sure all of us have read the work plan itself, but for the benefit of the public, to just go through the work plan and then look at the proposed changes to it that I think were one of the other addendums, and then I guess we'll talk from there on how we can efficiently decide what we might want to change. Does that make sense to the other commissioners, or as a way to proceed? Yeah. Okay. So let's start with just the. I don't think we need.
Todd, sorry, I thought Commissioner.
I was just going to say that Isabel was planning to work through the initiatives update, which would do that, because that touches on each of the work plan items. So I think that's a great idea. So that touches the work plan item and status. And I would just make the comment that there are no proposed changes at this point. That's what this meeting is about, if we want to make proposed changes.
Right. But okay, there are initiatives, but I guess where there's a difference between what you and I said is there's a first document, which is what the work plan. So it sounds like maybe we don't need to go through the work plan itself. We just want to go through the initiatives.
The work plan is on the initiatives page as well. It's just with additional information.
Okay, let's do that then. That sounds faster. So proceed. Make it so, number one.
Okay, so I'll share my screen and share the initiative, the update on initiatives. Let's see here, if that helps everyone. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Affirmative.
For some reason, this screen has gotten really small. Let me just... Okay, so so basically the left column is what is included in your work plan currently. I've included all of the initiatives that are in your work plan. And the right column is a status of each of the initiatives that are in your work plan. So for the first one, provide input on the update to the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Master Plan. That is completed since the plan was approved in January, and you worked with the consultants over several months to get that done. So congratulations. Provide input on priority projects for the use of Prop 68 funding. So that's also completed. The input piece is completed. We've submitted the applications to the state, and we're awaiting the execution of contracts for the projects. Once we receive the contracts, we'll be able to determine a timeline for the completion of the projects, which we expect would be about over a 12-month span, bringing to the commission sort of like in packages, depending on the project management piece of things, bringing projects to the commission for your input as we move those projects along. As for number 3, provide input on interpretive park signage for Albany parks when presented to commission. As approved in the master plan, it is a 7 to 10 year. It's in the forecast for 7 to 10 year. It is a system-wide project. Number 5, provide input on tree preservation education campaign for homeowners when presented to commission. This is pending the completion of the city tree master plan, and the materials would be imported into that plan. And speaking of the plan, the tree plan, staff is currently conducting research on other city tree master plan, and we'll be able to come to the commission at a future meeting to provide some information on potential scope of work and management of the preparation of the plan. And this is done by the Community Development Department. Number 7, research of feasibility of a dog park for small dogs. This has been included as part of Prop 68 project, inclusion of a small dog park at Memorial Park as part of the existing dog park there. Evaluate the need and feasibility for a public bathroom. We currently have a subcommittee, and in the master plan, it is forecasted as a 3 to 7 year project. Number 9, receive presentation on forest management plan for Albany Hill, including fuel load analysis when completed. This is planned for your March meeting. This will be a presentation by Public Works. Provide recommendation for enhancing park and open space, including waterfront, creeks, Albany Hill, and cultural facilities and opportunities. This is ongoing. Another ongoing task is the support of collaboration opportunities with nonprofit organizations on park projects and programming. Another quarterly update and review is the review of street tree removals, applications, and street tree removal policy. Continued support to support implementation of the Albany Hill Creek Site Master Plan that is ongoing. Investigate relocation of the community garden. It is included in the Parks Master Plan as a system-wide project in the near-term time period. But it's a little different, stated differently in the Parks Master Plan. What the consultants were recommending is clarifying roles and responsibilities and relationships with community garden organizations, also exploring additional community garden opportunities, and consider locations along the Ohlone Greenway and the Albany Bulb. And then referring to SB 1383, for community compost, mulch hubs should be considered. Number 15, receive presentation on maintenance activities, current city projects, and Measure M, as well as vegetation management activities on Albany Hill, the waterfront and the creek. Those presentations, the first one was happened in December. You'll be receiving the open space presentation at your March meeting as well. And then you've also received another presentation in September on the Albany waterfront when community development director came to the meeting to present information on the planning background and regulatory framework of the bulb. Let's see, number 16. So the items 16 through 20, those were items that have been included in the Parks, Recreation, Open Space Master Plan. So the inventory has been incorporated. You can see that on page 142 and 145. Provide input on recreation enhancements at Peggy, Thompson, Pierce Street Park. This is a near to midterm project. There's different components to it. Some are near, some are longer term. And per the project catalog, amenities are to be identified in a planning and design process, including public visioning, to affirm final list of programmatic elements to include. Number 18, provide input on recreational activities at all parks, including pickleball, bocce, terrace park, playground, bike park. So this is ongoing, and a lot of your input has been included as part of the plan. Investigate potential for open space use of Caltrans right of way. This has been included as a long-term project in the Parks Master Plan. And finally, investigate opportunities for improvements to key route. Also has been included as 7 to 10 year project per the master plan. So that is the overview of your current work plan and what's been accomplished and is, in progress or ongoing.
So do we want to go on to look at, yeah, why don't I open up to commissioners for comments and see if anyone wants to propose any changes to work plan. Does that make sense to everyone? Any of the other commissioners want to comment?
Well, if I may, generally we open it up for questions and then we ask for public comment and then we would bring it back for discussion. That's just how we, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the staff?
I have a question. On the tree master plan, you said it went through economic development. Where's it? Who assigns the allocates the budget to do that? What committee?
The tree master plan?
Yeah.
The tree master plan has not gone to any commission at this point. It's going to come to you after staff has finished a review and research of other city plans. So they're researching other plans that have been done by other cities, trying to figure out, what type of plan the city of Albany needs, and they'll come to you at a future meeting with, scope of work and a plan, and timeline and management of the plan.
Okay, I thought you said there was another committee that's allocating the funds to do that. That's what I heard.
No, she said it's coming through the community development department.
Oh, okay. Oh, got it.
Yeah,
that's what I heard. Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from any other commissioners? Okay. I guess.
Yeah. Actually,
go ahead.
I don't know if people
Brian.
hear me. People hear me. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. One question is this also an opportunity to just simply organize? Well, I don't know if people realize, but we got our work plan we were one of the first two commissions to get our work plans approved, was heard by the city council and approved. And then immediately after we did that, the city council voted on different requirements for what do you call it, for work plans. And so I would ask Isabel, is this also an opportunity, even if we change no work plan items, is this an opportunity to just sort of reformat it in the template that the city council has requested, which I think is a very good template of just sort of listing the recurring items separately from other items, and the sort of the pro forma stuff separate from other things. And so I'm going to get feedback on that. Thank you.
Yeah, there's no need to change to change your work plan template unless you want to make changes to the items themselves. The work plan has been approved with the current template, and there is no direction to come back with, with a rewritten work plan with the new template. The only thing that would trigger it is if you wanted to make some changes to work plan items, then we would incorporate those into the new template. We would, you would have to redo your work plan using the new template for presentation to council.
Okay.
I guess my comment would be, yeah, it would be if there weren't going to be any changes, which is still yet to be determined, then yeah, it would make more sense to make the re-template next time we're making changes. But do any other, let's see. Okay, so now can we go to public comment?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are there any public to comment?
Yes.
Can we let them in?
Good evening, everybody. I usually have a lot of ideas, and I kind of get unorganized and say too many things. So I'm just going to narrow it down to 3. It's almost summertime, and I'm just wondering where all the water filling stations are or the drinking fountains are, because I know there was a budget. Maybe we got some grants, thousands of dollars. So we're trying to encourage the public on drinking water. So, but I don't see any of them. I don't see drinking fountains anywhere. I don't see water filling stations anywhere, except for inside businesses behind closed doors. I mean, there's a water filling station at YMCA, maybe the city hall. I don't know. It'd just be nice if there were drinking fountains on Solano or the Albany Greenway, to encourage people drinking water. Put water in people's faces. Okay. So next subject. The community gardens, talking about possibly Albany Greenway, possibly at the Bulb. I don't know if the Bulb is it named the Bulb? I don't know. I was just going to suggest community gardens on the Key Route Strip. It's a big grass area, and I think the median would be a beautiful community garden and just a pedestrian walkway, just a fun place to walk along the Key Route median. Let's say we hypothetically did a whole community garden on one of those blocks. I mean, I think that would be enough to feed the whole town. So I would just suggest, hopefully someday we can start a community garden on Key Route. That way everybody could see it. And there's parking, on either side of the median. And last but not least, I was going to mention regarding recreation. Are you guys aware that the city of Albany used to have what's called, way back in 2017, it was kind of the leadership class of the community. It's called the Civics Academy. What a great program. I never got to participate. I never got to learn anything. Same with a lot of other community members. When it was going on a few years ago, I signed up. It was $200. It was $10 for each person, but $200 for the whole class because there's a 20-person minimum. I said, I'd pay for the whole class. Let's just get it going. And I'll still do the same. I'll pay for the whole class. Please bring back the Civics Academy. Please bring back the Civics Academy.
Okay, I think, do we have anyone else? Any other
Yeah.
public comment?
Yes.
Oh, okay, let's let them in. Unless, is there anything in there that the staff want to address? I think maybe about the Albany Civics Academy, or you want to wait till we have? Okay, go ahead and let the next speaker in. Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Tarreskin. I'm the USA Pickleball Ambassador for Albany. I really want to thank the Pros Commission for their support of the permanent pickleball courts project that we've been lobbying for the last 2 years. I feel like the commission and our group have really been through a lot together, and we are thrilled to see this included in the 7 projects to move forward with Prop 68 funds. I especially want to thank the commission members who heard our request to include lighting in the project, since the current tennis court lighting is not designed to illuminate the pickleball courts. I noticed that in the staff report on Prop 68 projects that was presented to be approved by City Council in November, that Ocean View Pickleball Project is described as, quote, design and construct pickleball courts to replace 1 or 2 tennis courts, end quote, with a budget of $120,000. The staff report mentions that the Pros Commission also recommended 2 projects if funding allowed. One of these projects was lighting improvements for the tennis pickleball courts at Ocean View. But the staff report goes on to say, quote, based on the current project cost projections, there's not enough grant funding to include the lighting replacement project. Since all of the descriptions of the project still say 1 or 2 tennis courts to be converted, I'd like to know which it is. If both tennis courts are getting to be converted to 8 pickleball courts, I can understand there's not going to be enough money in the budget for lighting. But if only 1 tennis court is going to be converted to 4 pickleball courts, which is what the Pros Commission recommended, it seems that the cost of a 4-court conversion, based on costs we're aware of for other court conversions, is far, far less than $120,000. If that's the case, we'd like to see budget numbers that were used to determine that lighting improvements would be over budget. In other words, we appreciate being able to be included in the design decisions for these pickleball courts, which will be such a game changer for the pickleball scene in our area. This is our one shot in Albany, and we are anxious to make the most of the budget that has been approved. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else?
No.
Okay. So I heard a couple things in there, but it wasn't really suggesting we add anything to our work plan. But there were some things that are in the work plan that were emphasized that people are interested in. For example, pickleball, water fountains. These are things we're familiar with. So, okay, so then let's open it up to commissioners to suggest any changes to the work plan. Commissioner Chang Frank.
One thing just generally, I know that we talked a lot when we were developing this or assessing the work plan more recently that let's wait until after this master plan has been finalized. And now we have, and I think it's super exciting to see what opportunities there are and what feedback we got from the public. So maybe this is just a question for you, Isabel. There's a lot on our plate for Prop 68. But I also know that these processes take a long time. And I can't imagine we're right away going to see a pickleball plan and right away going to see, all these other improvements. So I'm just curious, like in terms of breadth of work or what we have ahead of us, whether or not I would love a suggestion maybe for our commission to dive deeper into the into the master plan, because there's so many opportunities that have emerged that we could really spend time investigating from a community perspective. So sorry, I know I'm long-winded here, but I'm just, for example, you know, if one of the things about Memorial Park improvements that was needed was more public input to really understand what their interests are, could we work on that? Because that's not something that staff has to, you know, I know that it would, everything we ask for involves staff time, but it's not the same thing as like planning out a pickleball court kind of staff time. So I guess it's a question for you, Isabel, in terms of what we can put on our plate, given that some of these projects might take a long time for us to see. So how can we efficiently move projects along that can use our help right now, even if we don't see it materialize for another 2 years?
Yes, great question. So basically, you know, there's 7 Prop 68 projects that you will be working on and off with staff as we move those projects along. Some are going to be more time consuming and others are going to be, you know, maybe just one meeting, like for instance, the Dartmouth seating element, and maybe, you know, that we come to you with a few options for seating elements and you provide us your input on it. But for instance, as mentioned about the pickleball, there are options to consider. And that may take a little longer and more than one meeting as we work through you know, the project scope, the cost, and then the staff comes to you with different options that may be that need your input before we go to council with a final plan. So all the 7 projects I think will be pretty time consuming for the commission. As soon as I mentioned, we're still waiting on the state to finalize the contracts, and as soon as that's done, then the projects will be on a 12-month timeline, with some projects starting, you know, quicker, and others may, you know, start at the 6-month timeline, but may take only a month. But others will start at the beginning, at the 12-month, you know, the first month, but may take longer to finish. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth as far as those projects are concerned. And as far as other projects, what I wanted to mention also is that Public Works will be coming to you at a future meeting also to discuss your priorities for inclusion of new projects into the CIP. So they'll be presenting an update to the council at you know, probably in March or April, and then start a process for inclusion of new projects into the CIP. And as part of that process, they will come to you to discuss your priorities. So at this time, I wouldn't recommend that you modify your work plan for CIP projects, because that's going to be a separate process that you will go through with the Public Works Department. And it doesn't need to be in your work plan, because it's you're already part of the process of the CIP process. If you're interested, and the other thing to consider is that you're already in February, and you know there's only so many meetings left until the end of the year. So you want to also gauge that time frame, as you know, in either finishing existing projects that are on your work plan, or if you're going to include new items, you know, it is going to take a little bit of time to get that approval from council. You know, it would probably, in February, probably, you know, end of March, second meeting in March or April, you know, we'd be able to get your work plan amendment to council. And then that would give you, you know, May through December to work on new projects. As far as, you know, other potential projects to include in your work plan, I would look more at projects that are system-wide, maybe that require some, you know, some research that would advance us, you know, more of a, you know, a policy, but not necessarily projects at this point, because as I mentioned, that's going to be included as part of the CIP process. And then we already have all of the Prop 68 projects that are going to be coming your way.
So I guess I just wanted to clarify. So is there anything in there, Commissioner Chang Frank, that you want to suggest we add to the work plan that we want to discuss, or is this just comment on existing items?
No, actually, I mean, right now I don't have something concrete, but I'm wondering if, I don't know if this is too squishy, but if we could just like explore from now that we have this final master plan, explore what we might want to tackle and how we can even go about implementing something. I don't know if that's, please, I welcome other commissioners' comments. I don't know if it makes sense to do this because I do see how, like Isabel said, we have a lot on our plate that we need to execute. So, and I also think the city council may have their opinions about what they want us to focus on. That might even be helpful to hear from them. Like, now that you've seen this master plan, is there anything specific that they'd like our help digging into? I like, but Isabel, your suggestion of the system-wide, maybe if we did tackle something on a system-wide approach, that could inform us whenever down the line we want to, implement that specific improvement at any park, no matter what park it is. So I kind of like that idea. And then that would require us though to decide, potentially what system-wide improvement we want to investigate, create a subcommittee, et cetera. But even that, I'm just curious if we even feel prepared to sort of start suggesting that in this meeting. I don't know how others feel.
Well, I think my idea was this is about whether we want to suggest any changes, but let's hear it from Commissioner Amendres. Go ahead.
I guess to try to get a sense of like what is in there in the short term that might make sense. I was looking at the master plan summary near the very end that has things that would be done in 1 to 3 years and longer. And I guess it's helpful to hear your suggestion of system-wide things as well, because I noticed in the list is volunteer management. And I feel like that's possibly something. I don't know what the interest is in the city, but I know it was called out in the master plan as something that, to figure out a better way to use volunteers throughout all the parks. And so I don't know, that's one area that could be added as an area of research for the group if that was of interest to the commission and to the staff. But yeah, I don't see anything else, at least in that short-term list, that looks to me like system-wide. But I might see something.
Chair, if you'd like, I can share my screen and show the master plan project forecast for the 0 to 3 years, and you'll see that a lot of the projects in that 3-year time frame are already underway or will be coming to you soon. So I think as it's been stated, I think you'll be busy for the next for the remainder of your tenure in 2023. So let me share my screen if you'd like me to.
Go ahead, Isabel. I just wanted to comment. I think there is an item on the work plan about relations with community groups that sounds similar to what she's talking about, but maybe you can find that out.
Let me, okay.
And
can you see my screen?
Commissioner Abbott after she's done.
No.
Yeah, I see your screen. I see Parks, Recreation. Okay, there we go.
Okay. So you can see here, can you see the master plan project forecast near term 0 to 3 years? Okay. So so if you'd like, I can go over these and just again, brief overview. As you meant, the access and circulation improvements at Pierce Street Park, that's a Prop 68 project. Active transportation connection, that's a system-wide item, and it will be part of the update to the active transportation plan. Cordonesis Creek Trail, it's underway. Community garden maintenance, that's a system-wide project that could be undertaken by the commission if you'd like to. Dog amenities at Jules Terrace Park is a Prop 68 project. Dog park improvements at Memorial Park, also a Prop 68 project. Flex Sports Court system-wide is currently not a project. The new lighting at Memorial Park is a Prop 68 project. Flex Sports Court at Memorial Park, currently not a project. Nonprofit art and education partnership at the Ball, that is currently not a project. Permanent pickleball courts is a Prop 68 project. Playground improvements at Memorial Park is not a project either. Multi-use play field, again, that is also something that will be coming down. What I was going to say is the playground improvement at Memorial Park, multi-use play field at Pierce Street Park, those cannot, and the Flex Sports Court could be undertaken as part of the CIP. Seating element upgrades is also Prop 68, as well as the next one, shade improvements. Sustainable landscapes is a system-wide, and I believe Public Works is working on that and continues to work on that. The turf audit is something that is also available as a project. Volunteer management and volunteer storage shelter is also something that could be undertaken. If any of these would, I think what you need to decide as a commission is if there's anyone interested in taking on new stuff, right? And if there's subcommittees that would like to be formed to move some of these elements, new elements forward, or stay on track with the current work plan and see if there's interest in moving forward with some of the items that are not that don't have any subcommittee, if there's a need for subcommittees to be included, to be formed.
Rose, Commissioner Abbott.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so I just want to clarify what I think I was hearing from Commissioner Chang-Frank is the concern that with kind of the built-in lag on so many of these projects, especially the larger ones, we're going to be inefficient. That we're not going to be able to work on things on an ongoing basis. For instance, the next month we may not have. But it sounds like you presented the CIP proposals, and there's probably plenty to keep us busy. Is kind of what I was getting from your presentation. So I'm not sure I feel like we need to add anything additional to our work plan at this time, even though some of those seem really exciting. I think we've got a lot on our work plan for now. And if you can tell us that things are going to start moving, the next month or two, I mean, again, it's going to be 3 months before we could start on anything new anyway, because it's got to go through the approval process. So by the time we could add anything, our opportunity, our window is kind of gone, is what I'm sensing. Anyway, that's kind of my take on it. I just wondered. That's cool.
Oh, okay. Pros, Commissioner Chang-Frank again.
Yeah, thanks for pointing out the 0 to 3 years. It was hard for me to figure out where to focus my attention, and that helped me. And then also the whole idea of system-wide. I agree with you, Todd. It'll probably take a long time, even to if it really does start taking off and we had all these decisions to make, then maybe we won't have a lot of time. I personally would love to work on start a subcommittee, and if anybody wants to join me on specifically for the Flex Sports Courts citywide, not looking at a specific park, but just citywide, like understand what our community members would value in such a type of court. But I don't know, Isabel, can you tell me, does that need to be a work plan change, or could we we couldn't fit it in under something already?
No, I don't see where you could fit it in because it's a brand new item. So it would need to go to council for approval first as an amendment to your work plan. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I will be making a motion for that, just because I do feel like that's something that I am very passionate about, and I would be happy but I don't want others to expect it. So can you be a subcommittee of one if nobody wants to join you? I'm just curious.
I did that with restroom, so that you can do that.
Okay. I mean, I'm happy to, if people were up for recommending that, I'm happy for anybody to join, but I'm certainly willing to do it on my own too. So.
What I wanted to say, just kind of an overview about this discussion, is that there's really, and this is why I wanted to look at the original work plan at the beginning, that there's really two varieties of things on the work plan. There's the items where we receive input on things, and there's something that's going on at the city in like a department like Public Works. And then, like, for example, the tree report, and they have a report they have to give. So they're going to come to us. And so we don't really have much control. But then the other variety is where, as Isabel mentioned, Assistant City Manager Lebduck mentioned, that the research items are ones where we're taking initiative. So my trouble with this one is it sounds like it's something we don't have funding for. If we don't have funding for it, I'm not, or if it's, or where it at, maybe I'm just not understanding where this particular item is in the queue. Because I remember we were talking about doing it, and I think there wasn't funding. So that's my take on it. If I mean, I don't have an objection to you working on it. Just I'm wondering, if we have funding to get it. And so anyway, any other commissioners or staff? Yeah, go ahead, Sid.
I think that Commissioner Martin has his hand up. Oh, he just put it down. Oh, there it goes.
Well, maybe comments from staff about what I just said. Is there something we can do to move this item forward if the commission wants to?
Well, I think the way that Commissioner Chang Frank stated it is fine. It's research, the flex courts in general, how they're being used in other communities, whether the pros and cons of flex courts. What if we were to implement flex courts in our system, in our park system? What should we be looking for? What are the, yes, I think that would be perfectly fine. It wouldn't be implementing the project, right? Because as you mentioned, the funding is not has not been identified, but it could be included as a project in the CIP, as a priority project in the CIP when Public Works comes to you with, to discuss that with you.
Mr. Chang Frank.
I think Brian had a comment.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I would like to be on a subcommittee for flex sports courts. And also I noticed I was focusing on the 0 to 3 years items in the work plan and seeing what we might want to add. And I guess Memorial Park's going to get kind of a little bit of a makeover. Honestly, not a whole lot of amenities, but it'll have, the gate moved and it'll have a space for small dogs. So that's great. But also on the work plan was for Terrace Park dog amenities. And so I was interested in forming a subcommittee for dog park amenities to start looking into that. Unless staff thought it was really just too premature to look at something beyond what's in Prop 68. Yeah. Thank you.
You still have your hand up, Pros Commissioner Chang Frank.
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, I recall, thanks Brian. Sorry, Commissioner Martin, that's great to know that there's interest from you. I just recall from the master plan, I can't reference it, but it was the flex courts were one of the items that was more feasible in terms of financial cost. It wasn't a huge, big, like $130,000 cost like the pickleball courts, but maybe Isabel, if you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think it just depends, how many courts where, if we can't really, I think the numbers that were presented in the master plan are ballpark, but again, those numbers can change depending on the scope of the project. I'm just looking at it right now, just seeing. Yeah, for some reason it's not popping out at me. So let's see. Oh yes, here we go. About 50,000, I see. Yeah, but that's probably for one court. So depends.
Okay, so Pros Commissioner Amendrez.
I think one thing that I might be interested in working on, if it's a strong need, is the research around the community gardens. So I noticed that it's in our work plan and also in the system-wide short-term master plan. So I guess I need to understand a little bit more about what's needed. I don't know how much research has been done already, but that's something I'd be interested in forming a subcommittee to work on.
Okay, Pros Commissioner Price.
Well, Commissioner Mendries, I was about to say that I was also interested in the volunteer management research. But I also have kind of just a broader question for Isabel. And this is more maybe like a curiosity. For the longer term projects, right? Especially those that are not necessarily capital improvement projects, at least to start, they're sort of more of the visioning planning projects. I'm curious just how those get reconciled from the master plan into sort of city staff timeline, and then how they get brought back into the commission.
It's through the CIP process. So once projects are included in the CIP, and then it's kind of a wheel. So Public Works will work on those projects, and when they get to, let's say, the Memorial Park improvement projects, or even Pierce Street Park as a visioning process, then they'll scope out, the project, figure out if there's a consultant needed for visioning with the community, and it's just each project is different and needs to be scoped out. But the key is to get those projects in the CIP plan for consideration by the city council. And then, as time goes by and projects get completed, then there's different processes that are put in place depending on the scope of the project.
Okay, and so the prioritization kind of happens through the process of the city council, review and.
Yes.
Got it.
And your priorities, because you will be stating your priorities, for projects into the CIP, which your recommendation will go to council as they consider, the adoption of the CIP.
Any other commissioners? Okay, I think so. What I heard at least one suggestion to add something. I heard a suggestion from. Okay, now I'm getting lost with this. Pickleball, or not pickleball, the flex courts. The flex courts, I think we're proposing adding that. And I heard talk about a doggy park and about community groups. Are those two already on the plan, or are we making a change to the plan? So do anyone want to comment? Is there just one change on the table, or is it 3 changes?
I'm hearing 2, maybe 3. Adding research on the flex courts to the degree that would need to be on the work plan. I mean, it may not require staff time at that, from what I was hearing, but that would be one. And the small dog park that was mentioned was the one for Terrace Park. So that would be a new one. The one that's on the work. No, that's not what you heard. What I heard was Brian was saying the Terrace Park one, as opposed or dog amenities at Terrace Park versus the small dog park at Memorial.
Dog amenities is already included as part of Prop 68. It's part of.
Okay, so that's there. Okay, so and then the volunteer management idea, that would be something new. I'm not sure that works under the working with community groups. I think it's more like the Friends of Albany Parks program, or we have these people who want to help and just managing that. So I think I'm hearing 2 suggestions.
I thought that sounded like the same thing. That's where we're dead. It sounds to me like we can consider that part of the work plan. If relations with community groups is on, I'm not sure how would we be managing a community organization, because I guess maybe can someone explain the difference?
I have the description here from the master plan if you'd like me to read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so volunteer management, develop a process to organize community experts groups to assist with the maintenance and management with parks and open space. Development of a public directory of local volunteers and community groups for parks and open space management coordination. This could take the form of e-news notification or widespread social media calls to be coordinated with community organizations involved in the management and stewardship of parks and open space system. So I think it's more of creating a directory, you know, of all of the community groups that are involved in the city, formalizing those into a directory that.
Now, isn't that something normally the staff would do though? Because or most of that would be like putting things on the website. And no, okay. So I'd be okay with adding that. So we want to take those two separately. Then we'll take a vote on adding the flex courts, and then take another vote on adding this one, volunteer management. And then if we get both those, then we'll write up. Is that how the process works?
Yes.
Isabel?
So if yes, you can vote on those to add those two to your work plan, and then we'll proceed with an amendment and including, you know, the new items along with the old items into the new template and get that to in front of council at a future meeting.
How much of that would we do tonight? Would you the staff go off and write that up, and then we'd do something with it later, or how would that second part work?
It you know, it depends on the commission's will. I'm happy to do a draft and work with the chair to get that done, and then put it on the council agenda. But if the commission wants to see the work plan, you know, the draft work plan before it goes to council, we can bring that back to the commission at the March meeting for a final review before it goes to council.
Okay, well, let's leaving open the possibility that neither of the two will pass. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. So let's take a vote on the two items, and then if they both pass, then we'll decide how we'll talk about the process. So I think, let's see. So someone make a motion to add flex courts to our work plan. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I will make a motion to add flex courts to the work plan.
Do I hear a second?
Do we need more specific wording there, Isabel?
Yeah, that's right. Let's see.
So Commissioner Chang Frank, give us the wording.
Sorry, I have to look and try to.
Yeah.
Isabel, do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, if I look at the master plan, I mean, you could say, you know, to develop standards and guidelines for flex court integration. So do research to develop standards and guidelines for flex court integration.
Thank you.
Into the
I make a motion based on what Isabel just said.
Do I hear a second?
I can second that, Commissioner Abbott.
Can I have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Abbott?
Yeah.
Commissioner Armendariz?
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Kent?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Chair Beal?
Yes. And the motion passes unanimously. Okay, so the next motion is over, this one's going to be tricky, I think, about volunteer management. Do we have suggestions for wording?
I think, again, using what's in the master plan to develop a process to organize community experts groups to assist with the maintenance and management with parks and open space. Or to be more direct, you could just say development of a public directory of local volunteers and community groups for parks and open space maintenance and management coordination.
Okay, so I hear two options, and I hear, oh, is that a question, Armendariz, or Commissioner Armendariz, or a motion? Go ahead.
I don't know. I think it seems to me like the description is a little bit more than just a directory. It's like really understanding how to use or best practices for using volunteer groups. I don't know, work with volunteer groups. So I think the first part that you said sounded good to me.
The development of a process to organize community expert groups to assist with the maintenance and management with parks and open spaces. They're both in the master plan. it's all part of that same. So I think keep it as precise as you'd like to, because sometimes you may want to keep it a little broader. So to just kind of give yourself a little bit of flexibility, depending on, as you move forward as a subcommittee in your research, there's a little bit of flexibility as to where you can go based on what you find out.
Okay, so it sounds like there's, go ahead, continue.
I was going to say to that end, I wonder if we should actually say research a process to organize community experts rather than make it reliant on like a specific product at the end.
An example of how this might be used? Can we have an example of how this list of volunteers might be used, like something?
I'm not sure who that question's directed at.
It's directed. Well, I'm trying to formulate what we're voting on. Because I'm not quite sure.
Well, we're not voting. There's not been a motion yet, so
okay.
We will get a motion. But it sounded like. So let me just chime in here. Isabel presented us with an option A and an option B, and it sounds like the commissioners are predominantly talking about option A. So I think what we need is for someone, unless there's a desire to make it more specific, someone should make a motion for the first thing it is, but which sort of sounds like what Commissioner Price said, unless it's different. But Commissioner Armendariz wants to talk. So
sorry, I just I think this is just a way to kind of help the citizens of Albany find opportunities for volunteering and knowing how they can be involved in the maintenance of parks. And there's no like central space for, there's some I think, but I think it's not as comprehensive as it could be. That's my understanding from the Parks Master Plan discussions.
yeah, I guess the directory, and that's probably true, but the directory part, that still falls, we don't have to be that specific. So if we take the option A, we don't have to get into those details. So that's my comment. But do we have any more comments? Do we have a motion? What do we got? Anyone want to go? Do we have a motion?
I don't have a motion, but I have a question. Would that be something that the commission would work on, or is this something we'd basically be directing staff to look into and formulate a plan to bring back to us? Or would we be needing a subcommittee to report back on what the city should do to organize volunteers? What would this actually look like? Thank you.
Well, this is the commission's work plan. So this would be tasks for the commission to do.
I think the idea was to put together a subcommittee to make a recommendation.
Okay, I guess I'm waiting for a motion.
Okay, I move that we add, I don't know if I'm saying this right, add to the work plan option A regarding volunteer support. I think it was research a process to organize community expert groups to assist with the maintenance and management of parks and open spaces.
Do I have a second or a friendly amendment?
I second it.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Abbott?
Yes.
Commissioner Armendariz,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang Frank,
Yes.
Commissioner Kent,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
Chair Beal.
Yes. Okay, the motion carries. I just wanted to check, are there any other items that commissioners might want to add to the work plan? Okay, seeing none, then I think we can have this. So this is our decision, or this was our action for this meeting, was we approved adding those items. And then in terms of the process, do we, how did the commissioners feel this has to come back a second time to our March meeting? Or is it something that I can work with the staff and put together and present to the city council? Any comments?
The only thing I would say is that the new format does have a little bit of prioritization involved and a little bit of other judgment. Now, I'm comfortable leaving it up to staff and the chair to make those decisions if needed and send it on. But I just wanted to be sure that it's more than just laying it out differently. It restructures things and adds information that's not there. It adds priorities, for instance. So I just thought I'd mention
That's an important point, and I'm leaning towards the longer option. But continue. Any other comments, Commissioner Kent? Oh, you were the one person not on mute. Okay, anyone else? Okay, I think that's what we'll do. I'll work with the staff to produce there's a form that she included in the packet to produce that form to have an amendment to the work plan, and then we'll bring it back to the commission at our next meeting, if at all possible. It looks like it's going to be a busy meeting next time, and then from there, hopefully the next city council, maybe we could try to get it on their schedule for the next meeting after that, because otherwise it would be April, and then and so on. So okay, it sounds like that's the plan, and then I think we can move on to the next item, which help me, someone, I believe is a request for the next meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
I've lost the, okay, so does anyone, any of the commissioners have items they want to add, discuss at the next meeting? Other than what we already talked about, there's going to be a tree report.
Yeah, this is Brian Martin. I don't have a request. Usually this is just a request for future addendum items, whether it's the next meeting or future meetings. But I don't have a specific request, but wanted to ask Isabel if she could sketch out for us. Now that we finished the work plan and Prop 68, the city has submitted its request to the state for funding. I wanted to hear from Isabel what she knows about what our meetings will look like as far into the future as she can see. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Isabel, is there more about what's going to be in the future?
Yes, so as I mentioned at the March meeting, you'll receive a presentation on Albany Hill and open space by Margot, open space management by Margot. And then I'll also bring to you the sugar sweetened beverage tax item. It's that time of the year again where council will be having a work session to receive input on the use of the tax measure proceeds for next fiscal year. And as part of the that process, the commission is tasked with making a recommendation on what projects, programs could be used with those proceeds. So I'll be bringing that to you probably at the March meeting, because the work session will most likely happen in April for the beginning of May. But if there's an opportunity to come back in April as well, we will do that too.
Okay, any items commissioners dare to bring up to add to the agenda? Okay, I think so. There we have it. Is that the last item? Do we adjourn now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you very much for attending.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Nice job.